So first up tonight, we have Bob Baddeley. Hold on. I gotta do like the intro thing. I appreciate that. Bob has been on the stage before. Last time he presented on plastics, and it was just so much fun. Who knew he could do that with plastics? He's a member of Sector 67. He works at a startup here from Madison. But most importantly, he's a nerd. He's a nerd of Madison. So, fellow nerds of Madison, let's put our hands together for Bob Baddeley!
Alright, hi everybody, I'm Bob, and I'm going to talk to you about what it's like to sell on Amazon.
Laura, do you want your
So my story starts with something called Wacky Dancers. And Jamie is putting on a Wacky Dancer, here he comes. This is the Wacky Dancer. It's a wacky, wild, inflatable, flailing arm two-man costume. Yes, awesome. Thank you, Jamie. Right. So I made this for Halloween a few years ago, and it went over really well. And so I thought, well, maybe I can make a business out of this. And my girlfriend at the time was looking for some part-time work and knew how to sew. So I thought, well, this could work. So we spent the summer trying to build a business and getting the product ready for sale. And then in the fall, we were ramping up production, and we started selling on Amazon, and it was really exciting. So we took our product all over. You can see us at Mount Zion, or Zion National Park, and Madison, you know, the Capitol building. And we were hanging out with some friends. And this is at Cape Cod. Yeah, so we had fun. And we sold all over the nation. Yeah, so we've got 8 SKUs, which is another word for a variation on a product. Basically, it just means we have 8 different colors. And these are all of them, all over the United States, except for North Dakota and South Dakota. I don't know why. Maybe next year. So we've sold 360 so far, which is really exciting. Like, to imagine that you've built something and then sold 360 of them, and you had your hands on every one of them. Not in a weird, gross way, but like, you made these things that got sold. So like, over the fall, we were starting to make them, and we put it on Amazon, and we got our first sale, and that was super exciting. And then we got another sale and more sales, and then we got to a point where our production was not as fast as our sales. This is a good problem to have. But if you ever want to stress test a relationship, start a business with them. The good news is, this happened in August, so yay! Yeah. Okay, so we've sold 360 so far, 4 have been returned, and I will say Amazon should not be treated as a rental business, especially if you're going to get a costume right before Halloween and then try to return it right after Halloween. I know what's going on here. But we still only had 4 returns, which is pretty cool. And 96% of our sales have been on Amazon. So if we had just put up a website or tried to sell it on the streets, we would not have gotten anywhere near these numbers. So Amazon has been great for me as a small business, getting everywhere in the nation except for North and South Dakota. And this is what our page looks like. So you can see, there it is. Okay, yeah, this is our product. These are the colors. This is the name. We've got 5 stars, pretty awesome. This is a price. And over here, this is what's called the buy box. I'll zoom in. There, okay, I'll zoom in more. All right, so this is the buy box. And it tells you what the price is, what shipping is, how soon you can get it, whether it's in stock or not, and who sells it. And you can click the add to cart or buy now. Also important is this where to deliver it to. So Amazon has distribution centers and fulfillment centers all over. So they're calculating how long it's going to take to get to you based on where you are. So if you aren't saying you're in the right location, then it could say it won't necessarily know how long it will take to get to you. So just a pro tip. Okay, so here's another example. Let's say I wanted to get a pair of new Chucks. I could go on Amazon and see that they are $54 and free shipping and free returns. Notice that this is not Prime, by the way. So over here is a really complicated buy box. And you can notice that there's only one left in stock, except that there's other sellers who are selling it for cheaper. So what's really interesting in how Amazon works from the seller's perspective is that people are constantly fighting to get control of the buy box, which is this thing. So if you are the seller who is on the buy box, then when they add to cart, they're buying from you. And so there's automated pricing rules. So people set up rules so that their pricing adjusts automatically so that they can own the buy box. This is really important. And Amazon will prioritize different sellers based on a variety of things like if they're offering free shipping or free returns, or if that particular seller has a great customer service, or a whole variety of things. So pay attention to this buy box, because you can get some much better deals just by looking at the other sellers. Okay, so back to Amazon. They sell a lot. In 2017, that's $178 billion. That's a mind-numbing number. It doesn't even make sense. Okay, on Prime Day, they were selling 600 orders a second. They shipped 5 billion items in 2017. They are 4% of all retail and 50% of all online retail. It's insane. And how do they do it? They have shipping centers all over the nation. And actually, this is just the United States. If you zoom out, you can see the whole world. And they have shipping centers and all the stuff in the rest of the world too. But yeah, so their locations are, there's a bunch of different kinds of locations. So there's fulfillment centers, there's inbound and outbound sortation centers, there's hubs, there's all kinds of things. But the important number here is 141 million square feet of space. For reference, the Pentagon is 5 million square feet, and the Mall of America is 2.5 million. Right, huge. Okay, so an inbound sortation center is, let's say I wanted to sell on Prime. So I would send a box of my Wacky Dancers to their inbound sortation center, and they would split up that box and send a few units to a whole bunch of their fulfillment centers. Or let's say Samsung drops a container of TVs off at their inbound sortation center. Then that container gets split up and shipped around. An outbound sortation center is what happens when you've gone through your fulfillment and now you've got a whole bunch of packages that are destined for a few states. And so you'll go to an outbound sortation center where it'll take those packages and sort them into zip codes so that when they go to the UPS or USPS, it's just a pallet of material that's going to the same zip code. So that way Amazon can save a whole bunch on shipping, which they use to buy airplanes. So they have 50 airplanes that are used to move material from one side of the country to another, usually from distribution center to distribution center. They have around, I think, 20,000 trucks. And they are now starting to compete directly with the USPS and FedEx by doing delivery straight to your house. It's crazy. Okay, but the even crazier stuff is their fulfillment centers. So this is what a fulfillment center looks like. It is a giant warehouse full of pallets of stuff. And the stuff doesn't even really seem to be in any particular order because they don't need it to be. Their databases just know that this particular thing is in this row, this column, this high, and that's all they need to tell their pickers. So they do sort of separate it out into large things go over in this area and small things in this area and perishable things go in refrigerators and that kind of stuff. And even their book sections are just a mess. No, they do not use the Dewey Decimal System or sort by author. It's just a pile of books, and they're all categorized and stored. Their location is stored in their databases. So there's pickers whose job is to, for 8 or 10 hours a day, run around. They get there's a tote, and they have these barcode scanners with a screen on them that tell them where they need to go, what book they need to get, and so they'll do that, and they'll bring it to a collection center, and then go to the next one, and they just do this all day, every day, just picking. It's kind of a crappy job. Okay, and then there's some people who, the totes then go to the packing station where they go out of the tote, and there's a computer that tells the people, okay, you need to put the materials into this particular size box. So it's already done the calculations on which size box it needs to go in. And so they put it into the correct size box, and then they stuff it with either paper or the poppy stuff. It's a lot of fun. And at this station, so there's also a barcode that they slap on top of the box, and then it spits out the correct amount of tape that you then put on. Like, this is all totally automated. So the barcodes are interesting because there's actually 3 barcodes on every package that you get. The first one is printed onto the package, and that's just the size of the package. The second one is unique to each package, and that's just an identifier for that order, but it doesn't contain any identifying information. So the pickers don't know who the package is going to, and so you're not going to be embarrassed if you order some chucks and, anyway. And then there's the third one, which is the shipping label. So that happens automatically when it goes through the conveyor, and then a machine weighs it and scans it to make sure it's the right size, and then slaps the label onto it, and then it's off to shipping, where it goes on to another conveyor, and then each one of those lines has a semi-truck at the end, and whoops. And then these little black things will push the package into the appropriate lane so that it goes to the right semi-truck. Okay, if that wasn't enough automation, they're adding more robots. So there must have been some meeting in which a picker was like, hey, this is Amazon. Why can't Amazon deliver the stuff to me, the picker? And so they did. So these warehouses now have these robots that run around, and they'll pick up a whole bunch of stuff and bring it back to the picker. And they're guided by barcodes that are embedded on the concrete, so they know where to go. Yeah. And then they bring it all to the picker, who just grabs it out of the appropriate spot and puts it in the box, or the tote. Really friggin' cool. All right, so that was Amazon. It's also possible for third parties to do similar stuff and fulfill. So this is fulfillment by a third party. This is basically what an Amazon shipping fulfillment center looks like, where you've got your stuff, putting it into totes, then putting it into boxes, and sorting it to go out to the semi-trucks. And then you can have fulfillment by the seller. So this is my house. This is what it looks like when I get home, and I have an army of happy, excited Wacky Dancers greeting me and saying, "How was your day?" But actually, they condense down really small, so that's really what it looks like. And this is how excited I am to be fulfilling, like, Halloween time 20 or 30 orders in a day. And so fulfillment has this huge range of possibilities. And there's all kinds of ways to do it. So you'll see mom and pop fulfillment, where let's say you've got some tiny store, and they don't get a lot of customers, but they have plenty of stuff, and they got people who are working for minimum wage. So why not have them take the inventory in their store and list it on Amazon so that they can sell it? And so that's another way that fulfillment is done. There's also a thing called retail arbitrage. So this is crazy. Let's say Menards is having their 11% off sale, or no, their get a thing for free after a rebate sale. And so you go and you get your screwdriver and you send in your rebate and you get your money back. And now you've got this screwdriver that cost you nothing. So then you list it on Amazon and you make a profit. And people do this in much larger volumes. So they'll go to some other place that has a sale and they'll buy up all the inventory and then they'll list it again on Amazon. Or they'll look on Alibaba where some Chinese factory is selling some random gizmo and they will buy a bunch of them really cheap and then relist them on Amazon for much higher. And you'll see things like, oh, it was misspelled here, so nobody's finding it, so I'll just buy that, make it a much prettier offering, and then sell it at a higher price. So this kind of stuff happens all the time. There's also return flipping. So when people return stuff back to Amazon, they can't really sell it as new again, and so they don't really have anything they can do with it, so they wrap it up into a big pallet and auction it off to the highest bidder, and then someone who buys that pallet then depalletizes it, looks through the stuff, and relists that stuff back on Amazon for a profit. And most of the time, you guys will have no idea that any of this is happening when you click on the buy button. So I can have multiple sales channels. Let's say I can sell something on my personal website, wackydancers.com, and I can sell it on Amazon, and I can sell it through Etsy. And I can have it all fulfilled by a third party. And so when the order comes through any of those three places, it all goes to the same fulfillment center, which then packs it up and ships it. And then you can have multiple distribution channels. And that would be if I had some inventory at a third party fulfillment center in, say, the East Coast, and I had some inventory at an Amazon fulfillment center on the West Coast. And so depending on where you were purchasing my item, you would have it fulfilled out of either this third party or Amazon itself. So when you're buying stuff off Amazon, you really have no idea where it's coming from. Factory selling. Yeah, so it's if you're some company in China and you want more sales, you just go directly to Amazon and you avoid the retail markup. It's pretty cool that way. And then, okay, so Amazon does sell some stuff too, right? And they've now started doing Amazon Basics, which is where they recognize that some company is doing really well on some particular product, like let's say a USB hub. And so they're like, well, we could do that too. So they go work with a Chinese manufacturer and have their own USB hub, and then they start selling it, which pisses off a lot of sellers because they're just being undercut. But it's good for customers because now they get a decent product that's pretty cheap. So that brings me to what is Prime exactly? So we already know that it can be seller or third-party fulfilled, so it's not exactly coming from Amazon. And actually, after being on a seller on Amazon for 2 years, they were like, hey, do you want to be a seller-fulfilled Prime? So to you guys, it would appear that this was being Prime, but you saw my fulfillment center. It's my apartment. And it doesn't always mean 2-day shipping. So if you purchase something that isn't in their nearest distribution center, then they have to get it from a different fulfillment center, and it can take more than 2 days for that to happen. So Prime doesn't necessarily mean 2 days. And then someone is still paying for shipping. So I'll show you on the next slide, but you're paying for shipping whether it's Prime or not. Okay. So the question that I had after selling my product was, well, should I do Prime or not? Should I continue to fill out of my apartment, or should I send it to Amazon and let them do the fulfillment? And going through the math, it kind of is a wash. So you've got your cost of goods sold, which for me is about $35. And then I have to pay $40 a month just to be on Amazon. That's tax, like Amazon tax. Just, it sucks. But they also charge me every sale I make, and it's 15% of the cost of the price. So that's a huge chunk. And that happens whether Amazon is fulfilling it or I'm fulfilling it. And then if Amazon fulfills it, then they have their fulfillment fee. So this is what it costs Amazon to store it in their distribution centers and handle the shipping and all that. Another weird thing is I have to list my shipping price as the same no matter where I send it in the United States. So I picked $12 for shipping, or $11, because that's basically what it averages out to. So when I have to ship to California, it's roughly $17, and when I have to ship to Chicago, it's about $7. And so I have to list it at the same price. So some people are getting screwed and others are getting a deal. That's just how Amazon works. And then Amazon charges a warehousing fee of about 20 cents per month. Well, it's volume based. So there is that additional cost. And right now my warehousing fee is whatever I'm paying in rent for my apartment. So it would be kind of a wash for me. I would have to, either way, I'm going to have to charge people my price plus shipping, whether that's shipping or the Amazon Prime fulfillment. So when you see things offered as free shipping, it's not actually free shipping. They're just moving the cost of the shipping into the price of the item. Yeah. So, what about you guys? How does this impact you? Because this is always all about you, isn't it? Well, the good news is you already won. Amazon is structured to be a good business for you. It's all about the customers and getting, they invest so much in infrastructure so that they can cut costs, so that they can give you a better deal. Their customer service is fantastic. The shipping is ridiculous. You already won. You're getting a good deal. But I can say that there are some things that will make your experience a little bit better. One of those is to be nice. So I've had people contact me who are really angry, and I have to admit that I did not give them the same level of customer service that I would have given someone who was nice to me. I will also say that reviews are really important, and you can get a lot by writing a good or a bad review. So Amazon, remember the buy box and how important it is to own the buy box. If you're getting bad reviews, then you're not going to own the buy box, and so you're not going to sell. So a negative review is really, really painful for a seller. So if you write a negative review, it's very likely that you will get some kind of, that they will contact you, that they will try to make it right, anything to get you to not have that bad review anymore. And if you get a good product, review them and give them a lot of stars, because it really helps raise them in the rankings, and then they show up better in searches, and it would be nice if I had more than 7 reviews. That's all. And then the final point is to have reasonable expectations for the product quality. So you're getting cheap stuff that a cut of that stuff is going, or a cut of that price is going to Amazon. A cut of it is the cost of the material itself. A cut is the cost of shipping, because even though it's Prime, you're actually still paying for part of the shipping. And whatever is left is going to the retailer, the person who's selling it. So there really isn't a lot of margin when people are selling on Amazon. And so the fact that you're getting something so cheap means that you really should have reasonable expectations for the quality of the product. And if something is more expensive, then it's legitimate to expect that it has higher quality. And I think that's it. So thank you.
Keep it going for Bob. One of the wise guys. So you guys can tweet your questions to @NerdNameMadison. My question is partly related to that. Who came up with the name Wise Guys? That's your seller?
Yeah, Wise Guys is my consulting company, and it was cheaper for me to just do Wacky Dancers under the Wise Guys consulting business than it was to set up a whole new LLC and all that.
Makes sense. So this one is coming from Andrea. Do you dance in every Wacky Dancer you make? If so, for how long, on average, do you dance in each one to ensure that it's up to code?
There is a rigorous quality control process.
Okay, good.
But
do you want to demonstrate?
It does not involve dancing in every one. Sorry.
So I'm going to still imagine that you do. This one comes from Mel's Sentient Sweater. Which color wacky waving, arm flailing tube dancer is the most popular?
So the three that sell the highest are green, blue, and red, and I think it's that order. It might be red, green, and blue. Okay, green sells the most.
Green sells the most. There we go. This is from Sam. Does a comment help a seller, or is it just the stars that count?
Comments and the stars. So Amazon actually does some natural language processing to figure out what the comment is and the sentiment, and they also look at whether the comment is real, or they can figure out if the comment is real or fake.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazon knows a lot of stuff, it turns out. So how is the distribution process different for fulfilling through Amazon or fulfilling by yourself? Besides, what's the major difference that you would say? Is it just convenience, or?
For me personally?
Yeah, for you. So distributing, fulfilling through Amazon or fulfilling by yourself?
So if I were fulfilling through Amazon, then I would just be sending them a box and hoping that they take care of it. And so part of it is just me wanting to have some control over the process.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is I really enjoy seeing, I got this order from this state. Ooh, I get to send to this state. It's kind of fun.
I like that. Which reminds me, is anyone here from North or South Dakota or has family there? Oh, I saw a tentative hand raised back there. So just saying, maybe they're looking, for a Halloween costume. Order it directly for them. Could be fun. All right, and then let's see. One last. Oh, we got a couple more. Are there other emotions for the Wacky Dancers or potential changes from the smiling Wacky Dancer?
We did make one for with a Jewish face and a yarmulke and the locks.
Okay.
That was fun. But no, they're all happy.
They're all happy. Nice. We like happy. And let's see. So we'll use it. We'll have this one be the last one. How much more do you make if you sell on your own site?
So this is interesting because you'll find the same price on Amazon or my site, and there's a good reason for that. It's because in some cases, Amazon has been known to go out and see the competing offers, and if you are selling it higher on Amazon than other places, then you get hurt for that. Not physically, but
not yet.
Yeah. So the result is I am selling it for the same price on wackydancers.com that I am on Amazon, but because I'm not paying the 15% stocking fee or the fulfillment fee, then I make 15% more.
Sweet. Nice. All right, let's end it on that. Give it up one more time for Bob.